Ready for the ball drop next at 11.
1 million people have gathered here in Times Square to ring in 2025 while keeping their eyes on the weather.
Timing out the rain and a temperature tumble.
And missing for 9 days. How this dog announced she's home next.
No matter how hard it pours, I'm not leaving until the ball drops.
I couldn't be more excited, even with the rain.
Now at 11, a soggy and stormy start to 2025. Hundreds of thousands of partiers braving the rain and even lightning to ring in the new year in Times Square. Thank you for joining us for this final newscast of 2024. I'm Rana Novini.
And I'm Gilma. Avalos. David and Natalie have the night off. And let's start with a live look at a crowded Times Square where even wet weather couldn't deter those revelers, even though it forced the cancellation of the midnight run in Central Park.
Yeah, showers and storms still moving through the tri-state to kick off the new year. Meteorologist Matt Brickman is here. And Matt, everyone in Times Square tonight getting quite a show in the sky.
Yeah, tons of lightning, heavy rain. The good news now is, guys, though, I think we are done with rain in Times Square. You can see Manhattan and the heaviest rain pushing to the north right now. There's still plenty of lightning in the area. Parts of Long Island around Islip seeing heavy rain and frequent lightning there. Lower Hudson Valley as well. But there's not really anything else headed towards the 5 boroughs. So as this moves out and those last raindrops fall, that should be it for the night. Now, there's still a ton of lightning, 166 lightning strikes in and around the tri-state in the last half hour or so. A very active evening, but that will begin to move away. And as it does, we will start to see a big change as we move into the new year. Tomorrow, temperatures aren't bad, but what you'll see are stronger winds ramping up by the afternoon, and then temperatures drop lower and lower the more we move through the end of this week and the first few days of 2025. We'll talk about how cold it'll get by this weekend in your 10-day forecast coming up. Back to you.
Matt, thank you. Let's get back out live now to Times Square and the largest New Year's Eve celebration in the country.
When the iconic ball drops in just about an hour from now, an estimated 1 million people will be there watching in person, New Yorkers, visitors alike, and alongside them, hundreds of police officers, members of the bomb squad, drone detection teams, and canines all in place to protect the crossroads of the world.
Also in place tonight, our team of News 4 reporters. Let's get right out live to Mark Santia, who may just have the best seat in the house tonight. Mark?
Yeah, it's incredible. The rain has been on and off all night. We're catching a break right now. Matt says we're actually done with rain for the evening, and that's not affected the crowds. There are hundreds of thousands of people here. People have traveled across the world to be here in the crossroads of the world. Right now, they're still doing rehearsals. You can hear some sound checks, but people you can see behind me, people are gathered all across, and they've stuck it out. They're wearing some ponchos. No umbrellas were allowed, but there are thousands of people, and the countdown is on to the countdown. Let's take... Soggy, soaked, and still excited. The rain was not dampening the mood or the music here in Times Square.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Standing in a secured viewing area for hours, Janina and Katie married this past fall, celebrating their first New Year's together and soaking up all the Times Square excitement.
It's undescribable. I couldn't be more excited.
With the rain even?
Even with the rain.
The crossroads of the world, welcoming spectators from across the world. Julian is from France.
It's really special because in France we don't have this show of American show. So it's our first time in New York and first time in Christmas. So it's the beautiful time. Even with the rain, we like.
It's New York. It was rather It's their plane to be here.
After a global pandemic canceled their Times Square trip a few years back, this group of friends from Brazil finally got to make their dream a reality.
It's a realization. Yeah, it's just a big dream.
A surprise moment before the ball dropped, NYPD Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch swore in new executives, including new Chief of Department John Shell.
So I'm here with my daughter and my brother, and we're just celebrating bringing in the new year 2025.
While the rain made for some soggy moments, the Noyen family brought the sunshine and positive spirit.
I'm not leaving, I'm staying. It doesn't matter how hard it pours, I'm not leaving until the ball drops.
And
And when you look out across Times Square, you see spectators and you see police. There's a very heavy NYPD presence here tonight. For more on that, let's go to my colleague, Jonathan Dienst. Jonathan?
Thanks, Mark. We're here also in Times Square, where we're joined now by Rebecca Weiner, who is the head of intelligence and counterterrorism for the NYPD. But first, we do need to talk a little bit about the weather and all this lightning. But the OEM tells us that much of it was south and west of here, and not as much of a concern.
Well, there's only so much in the control of the NYPD, right? Yes, but the lightning is moving on. The rain is lessening. We're expecting that to continue over the next hour to ring in 2025. Hopefully the rain will bring good luck for a good year to come.
Let's talk about securing this. Come up.
No, we've been working very hard. All of our teams have been out, our K-9s, our heavy weapons teams, our WMD, counter drone. Our drones are up in the sky despite the weather. So everything is working as it's planned. Big overlay here, and it's bearing fruit.
And no incidents so far here or in the...
No incidents, no specific or credible threats going into the night, and then all of the unpredictable what-ifs that we've, of course, planned for. None of those have materialized. All good news.
This is not the only celebration in this city. There are countless events all across the city. How are things looking outside of Times Square?
So we aren't obviously just focused on what's happening here. We have a whole city to protect, and while the world is watching over the next hour, of course, the NYPD's job rolls on into the morning. Across this city, we have all of our officers out there making sure that our city as a whole is protected, not just this bow tie.
And in terms of the crowd, everyone went through screening, no umbrellas allowed, some of the precautions you took with the guests who are taking part tonight.
So multiple perimeter screenings all went off without a hitch so far. Unfortunately for the folks who've been out here in the rain, no umbrellas, but everybody understands why these safety measures are in place. And we're all here together to make sure that the next hour of festivities goes off without a hitch. So this is something we plan for, we prepare for, not just in the days leading up, weeks, but months, just for this to happen. And you can hear the festiveness and feel the energy in the air.
Commissioner Weiner, thank you so much for taking the time out. That's the latest from Times Square. So far, everything's safe, although a little wet. Back to you.
Okay, Jonathan Dienst with that good news from Times Square. Thank you so much. We do want to get to some other headlines for you tonight. We have an update now to a story we first brought you as breaking news at 4 o'clock. Police have now charged a 23-year-old suspect accused of attacking a subway rider at random, pushing him from the platform onto the tracks. That victim fell at the 18th Street station into the path of a moving train. And tonight, News 4's Chris Jose has video of the shove that rider never saw coming.
Tonight, officers leading 23-year-old Kamal Hawkins out of NYPD's Transit Bureau at Columbus Circle in handcuffs. Hawkins, wearing a gray hoodie, not saying a word as he was escorted into a patrol car. Meanwhile, in Chelsea, the 18th Street subway station back open following another horrific assault underground. Hours earlier, surveillance video shows the suspect wearing dark clothing and a hoodie shoved the victim off the platform as the southbound 1 train was pulling in just after 1:30 p.m. The crime scene catching riders off guard.
I haven't seen never like this. Never. It's always cool, calm, and collected. So I don't know. It's shocking to me.
The victim, who was looking down at his phone, was blindsided by the attack, which appears to be random and unprovoked. 2 witnesses standing feet away took off in a panic. The 45-year-old man pushed off the platform, conscious and alert, surviving with head injuries and a broken rib, according to law enforcement sources.
It's unfortunately part of living in the city to me. I think this is something that just is bound to happen.
The alleged attacker ran away, but officers quickly found him. Police sources say Hawkins has several prior arrests, including harassment and assault on a police officer.
Do you feel pretty safe using the subway? Oh, I didn't then. I don't know now.
Police say the victim was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He's expected to survive. In Chelsea, Chris Jose, News 4 New York.
Now to an update on another case of violence on the subway. Investigators have finally identified the woman who they say was set on fire and burned to death on a subway train in Brooklyn a week ago. Police say the woman killed was 57-year-old Debrina Kawam of Toms River, New Jersey. They believe she was homeless at the time of her death. She was killed on December 22nd when police say 33-year-old Sebastian Zepeda set her on fire as she slept on an F train at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue stop. Zepeda has been charged with murder and arson.
Still ahead at 11, we're getting ready to ring in the new year all across the tri-state.
It's New Year's Eve in Hackettstown, New Jersey, and that means M&M's falling from the sky. Or maybe just one. Or tonight.
And in just minutes, we're going to take you back out live to a soggy Times Square as we count down to 2025 here in New York City. We are back now with a live look at New Year's Eve in two different tri-state cities. On the left side of your screen, or here, right here on your screen, Manhattan, where the iconic ball drop in Times Square is now less than 50 minutes away.
We also want to tell you about a different tradition that's happening in Hackettstown, New Jersey, where that ball drop will actually feature a giant M&M.
News 4's Ida Siegel is there with a look inside the festivities.
A New Year's bash in Hackettstown, New Jersey, welcoming 2025, unlike anywhere else. Glance up and you'll see why. The ball drop here doesn't involve a ball at all, but rather an M&M.
Because M&Ms are made right here in Hackettstown, so this is a perfect event to have a giant M&M come down in the center of Hackettstown where M&Ms are made.
Hung by a crane glistening in the sky, the candy icon will make its way down for the midnight countdown.
This is the second year that we're doing this, and it has just brought so many people to our little town.
The M&M ball is 40 inches in diameter and has 1,000 LED lights. But the real party is down here with my buddy Red M&M, who's going to get the crowds hyped up, especially at midnight.
I'm so excited. I came here last year and it was so much fun, so I'm excited for the second year in a row.
Lots of festivities planned through the evening. The rain made it tough, though. But the cheerleaders from Hackettstown High School kept spirits high. And the band kept going under a tent. Revelers huddled under awnings and umbrellas, some dancing in the rain, determined to celebrate.
To be able to have something like this here is great for the kids, it's great for the community. So, you know, I love that this town is doing stuff like that.
Reporting from Hackettstown, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
I think Ida got the most fun assignment of the night.
She got to be Red M&M?
That was pretty cool.
Big
but you
deal.
could see that rain coming down hard, Matt.
Yeah, the good news is I think we're pretty much done around the city through Hackettstown and in much of the area, but it has been a very wet evening and there are still heavy rain, downpours and thunderstorms across parts of Long Island, through the Hudson Valley and into Connecticut as well. Storm Tracker 4 showing you the worst of that rain here in Suffolk County. Islip right in the middle of a ton of lightning. Fire Island in the mix with that as well. A bit farther to the north, you're just starting to see some of that heavier rain move into Fairfield County by Bridgeport. Down 95 towards Stamford, you're seeing some lightning mix in as well, and then through the Hudson Valley, though not lightning here, but you are seeing some heavier rain around Cortland, up towards Phillipstown, and by Carmel as well. I'll give you a little bit of a wider picture. You're going to see this lifting north and east, but you're pretty much done in New Jersey for rain this evening. Maybe a sprinkle in far northwestern parts of the Garden State, but things are beginning to wrap up. Not after dropping all ton of rain in spots. Almost a ½ inch fell here in the city in about 2 hours time, almost 3/4 of an inch in Newark. And it did take for the final day of the year, but we have now got a month with above average rainfall here, with about 4.5 inches falling for the month of December. Much of that coming in the last 4 days. There's a live look in Times Square where the rain has stopped for the moment. We sit at 45 degrees. Winds not too bad out of the northeast at 14 miles an hour, and things should be settling as we move into the overnight. I don't expect temperatures to cool off much from where we sit right now. So we're staying in the mid 40s into tomorrow morning. 51s are high on New Year's Day. Could see a stray shower by the afternoon, but wind, I think, is going to be the big story through the day tomorrow, especially late afternoon and into the evening. 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts that will continue tomorrow night and through Thursday as well. So all of us under a wind advisory through Thursday with gusts to 50 miles an hour. And that is colder air coming in and is going to drop temperatures from the 40s and 50s towards the end of the week. We'll be in the 30s and even into the 20s as temperatures keep on dropping as all that cold Canadian air spills down just in time for what should be a pretty chilly weekend for the first weekend of 2025. Right now, I took the snow chance out for Monday. I think it stays to the south of us, so it'll just be chilly sunshine for the next several days. Back to you guys.
Things are looking up, Matt. Thank you. And we're keeping a close watch on the crowds in Times Square as the clock ticks closer to midnight 2025. Now, less than 45 minutes away. We're going to take you back out there in just minutes. As we continue to count down to 2025, the crowds are still packed in Times Square despite all that rain we saw.
Let's go back out live to Times Square. Our Mark Santia there. And Mark, you're joined now with Mayor Eric Adams.
Yes, we have a very special visitor, Mayor Adams here. Mayor, what's your message to New Yorkers for 2025?
I think resiliency. We saw the rain today. The rain is gone. We stuck through it. New Yorkers didn't go anywhere. We're resilient. And, we know that this is going to continue to be the great city that we all know about.
Mayor, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for having us. Thanks for stopping by. Happy New Year. We'll send it back to you in the station. We're live in Times Square. Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
All right, Mark, thank you. We're going to be right back with Matt Brickman and a look at sports.
Closed captioning provided by Toyota. Let's go places. The Spectrum Sports Desk is brought to you by Spectrum, a connection built for everywhere. That's life unlimited. That's Spectrum.
All right, Matt Brickman pulling double duty tonight, joining us now with sports.
Yeah, New Year's Day is a big deal for college football, but the playoff resumed tonight. And what began with 12 teams is now down to 8. One quarterfinal game tonight, 3 more tomorrow. Tonight in the desert, Penn State faced Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, and it was all Nittany Lions early on. Second quarter, Drew Aller is going to hook up with Amari Evans on a 38-yard touchdown strike. There he is. 17-7 Penn State at the half. Now, 24-14 in the fourth quarter, and Nicholas Singleton is going to seal the deal for Penn State. Breaks through the line, and he is gone. 58 yards, untouched to the house. Penn State advances to the semis with a 31-14 victory. They'll face the winner of Georgia and Notre Dame. Earlier, it was the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Now, not part of the playoff, but much more important because my school won. The University of Illinois topped South Carolina thanks to this 9-yard touchdown run by Josh McCray in the fourth. The Fighting Illini win 21-17. And who needs Gatorade when you've got Cheez-Its? The Cheez-It bath for Coach Brett Bielema, who absolutely loved that there. A little bit saltier, perhaps. 3 more games to follow tomorrow. The biggest one is top-ranked Oregon against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. We'll see if the Ducks can remain undefeated. Now, to hockey, the first-place Devils ringing in the new year tonight in Anaheim against the Ducks. Jersey trailed 2-1 in the third when Timo Meier fires one from the slot, and that'll tie the game up at 2. That's Timo's 14th goal of the year. But with under 4 minutes to go, former Ranger and Islander Ryan Strom scoring on a huge blast to win it for the Ducks. Devils drop a tough one on New Year's Eve, 3-2. This afternoon, the Islanders were in Toronto. The game was tied at 1 midway through the second period when Steven Lorentz of the Maple Leafs does it himself, goes top shelf for the goal. Toronto never looked back. Former Islander John Tavares added an empty netter as the Leafs win it 3-1. The Isles have dropped 3 of their last 4 games. Some more bad news for the last-place Rangers. Goalie Igor Shesterkin was placed on the injured reserve with the always vague descriptor upper body injury today. Now to college hoops. St. John's visiting Creighton. This was a good one. The Johnnies trailed by 1. In the final moments, R.J. Lewis is going to get the ball and make a move above the free throw line. Shot doesn't go, but he sticks with it, gets his own rebound, a second attempt. Denied, and time runs out. Rick Pitino and the Johnnies snapped their 6-game winning streak, 57-56. Earlier today, Seton Hall, no match for Xavier on the road. Ryan Conwell scored a game-high 22 for the Musketeers as they jumped out to a big first-half lead, never looked back. The final on this one, 94-72 Xavier. The Pirates are 0-3 to start Big East Conference play. Cheez-It bath tonight, certainly the highlight of my evening, and hopefully for you as well. Happy New Year.
I know,
your team won.
Yes.
Yeah, it's rare Illinois wins something in football, so savoring it as much as I can.
Listen, lots of people in Times Square are celebrating big tonight despite the rain, not dampening spirits. Take a look at that live shot. Everybody looking up at the sky there. We are now just about 35 minutes away from ringing in 2025.
And hopefully everyone out there is drying out from the rain that they saw earlier tonight. Mark had spoken to a couple earlier tonight, I don't know if you remember this, who said they didn't bring any ponchos because they didn't believe it was going to rain. And as soon as those raindrops started, I thought of that couple standing out there.
Always trust the weatherman. The rain has moved off now, so there's time to dry out, hopefully before the ball drops here in a little bit more than a half an hour. But pretty good soaking there with almost a half inch of rain just a couple of hours, along with all that lightning we saw this evening.
Right.
As well.
What a show. We heard that thunder, we saw that lightning, and the show continued. The show went on there.
Yeah, we wondered for a time if they would evacuate people in Times Square. I mean, that would be a huge undertaking.
We see this a lot with sporting events, kind of open air arenas. When there's lightning in the area, they clear the venue. It's a little bit different in Times Square. You're surrounded by some very tall buildings with lightning rods, so there is some protection around those folks that are standing out in the open, but no protection from the rain. I did see a lot of the hats that they were handing out, so there was a little bit of head cover in absence of the umbrella. But if you didn't have the poncho, I imagine your clothes are pretty soaked at this point, but we should be done with rain for the night. So some good news there.
Now you have a soaking wet hat as a souvenir for the year 2025, your time in Times Square. It really is an iconic moment. I mean, rain or shine, people stand out there in all sorts of weather conditions that we've seen over the year, Matt. We've seen really warm weather. This is perhaps one of the warmest that we've seen, and then really cold ones too.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, temperatures were in the mid-50s. We had rain then. I was trying to find any history of lightning this late in the season. Certainly on New Year's Eve, it is something that you would think we'd remember, but I couldn't find any records of that. And yes, we have had colder evenings as well. Back in 2017, Rana, I know you were out there. About 4 below for a wind chill at ball drop. So maybe you choose the rain over that.
I don't know. At least you could dress for the cold.
You can layer up.
Right, with the rain, you can wear a poncho, but I mean, you still, once you're wet, you're wet.
Once you're wet,
you're
wet.
Cold.
And at least you have a story now, right?
That's
I was
true.
in Times Square during the big lightning storm to start 2025. But yeah, those folks probably feeling a little uncomfortable in wet socks and shoes at this point.
I will say, hearing from all the revelers there, just a reminder, as New Yorkers, we tend to take these festivities for granted. We try to stay clear of Times Square, but we heard from so many people that this is a bucket list item, traveling from all over the world to be here tonight to celebrate in New York, an iconic location to ring in 2025.
All right, and just over 30 minutes to go, about 32 minutes to go until the new year. That's going to do it for us for now. The Day Drinking with Seth Meyers New Year's special is coming up next.
And today in New York begins at 6 in the morning. Have a great night and a very happy New Year. Thank you for being with us.